Sweet.
I have got to talk about the campsnap 8 or CS8 camera. It's such an awesome camera, and I've had it for a couple weeks now. I don't mean it's the best camera out there. You gotta get it because it's gonna make all your videos better. But no, this camera is so fun to shoot video with and gives you such a nostalgic feeling and tactile feeling of what you're doing with your camera, and so personal, and it sparks all kinds of conversations while you're out shooting it. I've had more conversations while shooting with this just about the camera and about what I do in general and all of that fun stuff. So if you want something that is going to be nostalgic, spark conversation, be fun to shoot with, something that you shoot a video and you have to wait until you can upload it onto your phone or your computer before you get to see what it actually turned out like, this is like your camera. I've had like a couple weeks now of playing with it and shooting with it, and I had a really hard time deciding what I wanted to do. Do I show like what the camera's about and like what's on it and stuff like that? And I decided I'm just going to pop up like what you see on the sales screen here, because it shows you all of the outside of the camera. And there's a couple things that it doesn't really specify on there that you can't really see from the photos that I do want to show. First and foremost, this top thing that looks like it could be a cold shoe or hot shoe mount, it's not. It's just kind of looks like it, and it's just there. A little bit of a downfall. I kind of wish there was a cold shoe on it, even just so you could put like a light on it if you needed it, but it's not a deal breaker at all. It does have a spot for a strap, which they do sell some on their site, and the analog gauges that you see on both sides for the battery as well as the SD card reader are so cool and actually analog. Like without it turned on, you can actually see it moving while I bounce it. And then when you do turn it on, it shoots up, and then it like settles back down to where it's actually sitting. It won't move much because I don't have much on it right now, but just so cool. Just like that little touch of that analog is just so fun. The trigger is great. It is a little sensitive. You will probably have some shots that are just like, did I accidentally pull the trigger there? That's weird. But you know, it is what it is. Good thing is the files are pretty small, so you're not going to eat up too much of your SD card with that. That being said, also the SD card's only 4 gigs that they put in it, but you can expand it, so you could expand it on your own. And I'll tell you a little something about that expansion ability in a little bit. You got to be a little careful when you're doing it. So as you can see, there's like where you can change your looks, where you can change your aspect ratio. You've got your settings, so you can set all your metadata, your time and date and fun stuff like that right here. Up top, you have your zoom rockers. It does say 8 times powerful zoom, but I'm going to show you the zoom right now. It's digital. You can zoom in 8 times, but it gets very digital and it looks like a digital camera zoom. It's usable for if you're trying to look like you're shooting with a retro camera with a digital zoom. If you want it to not look too digital and you want it to look like a retro Super 8 camera, keep your zoom down below like 4 times probably. But if you don't care about that, go ahead and utilize the full 8. But the zoom rocker is pretty easy to work with. I just shoot like this and I put my hands on it and I rock it that way. And I do tend to use it in a lot of my shots. It does show up like a count up. There's a red blinking light and it shows the counter inside of it. And then when you release it, just kind of stops. You could record yourself, which I did in a few shots here. I just used one of my wife's hair ties and wrapped it around it and like pulled it over it so that it held the trigger in for me. And then I walked in front and did the things I wanted to do. You could also speak to the camera because it does have an internal microphone, which is nice. If you pair that ability with something like the DJI Mic 2 or one of the other microphones that record internally, you could definitely pair them together and get good audio and actually record your talking head with it. I'm glad it gives you like scratch audio, which the audio in it doesn't sound too bad. Here's an example. Standard mode. This is VTG1. This is VTG2. All right, we're in analog. All right, we've gone to black and white. So the audio in it doesn't sound terrible. Like, you definitely can just film some stuff and have audio in it, but you're getting more of like a old 1970s, 1980s home film look and feel and sound to the audio. Another thing, I do believe it's on the site, but there's a quarter 20 on the bottom of this. And that opens up some opportunities. So like, I put it on a little tripod to be able to film myself with it. But also, I think you can get some nice, cool, smooth cinematic shots if you pair it up with like a slider. Or it'd be fun to see somebody throw this on a gimbal. And just, I don't have a gimbal that would work for it, but it'd be funny to see somebody throw it on a gimbal and see what you could get with it. So if somebody out there is going to get one and you have like a good sized gimbal, I would love to see that and see what somebody gets with it. But let's talk about the customization of the different looks and just kind of what the different looks look like. So I'll show you some shots of each look. So we've got standard, you got vintage 1, vintage 2, analog, which is super fun, and this whole sequence that I'm about to show you was shot on analog. Was analog, and it doesn't quite look that fun in camera. When you're looking at it through here, it looks very pixely. Like, the pixels in here you could almost count if you were slightly autistic and could count like with just like looking at something that's like that. But like so it doesn't look great on there, but it gives you the framing and what the look's kind of going to look like after the fact. So you do see everything kind of overlaid on it. But I love how that analog looks afterwards. It also records in 20 frames per second, so you get that kind of like really like it's a roll of film just like cranked down so that you're like not fully getting a full like 24 or 30 frames per second. Everything else that's on it, by the way, is 30 frames per second other than that analog. Now, when you go to customize these, it's going to customize just like the CampSnap Pro that I did my previous video on does. So you could sneak over to that video, or I will do a demonstration of customizing them on this in a future video. If you guys really want to see it, leave me a comment and I'll make sure I do that in a video so you can like see what I come up with for looks. But when you customize them, it appears that you can actually change the frame rate on it. Speaking of that though, it doesn't give me as much information as I would love to see. I really want to see my shutter speed, my ISO, what it's giving me for that stuff. That way I know, like, could I do something better by holding up like an ND filter or and get it to change some of that stuff to get it like maybe even like a smoother of a looking shot or more natural motion blur in my shot. Because with it as is, I can't tell what that stuff is. And maybe it would be something they could do in a firmware update where when you're looking in here, it could show what that stuff's kicking at inside the camera. Like when you hit record, it could pop up like what it's currently at for ISO and shutter speed. That would be neat to see. And I know like the aperture's fixed, so that's not something I want to see in there, but like seeing the ISO and shutter speed would be cool to see in camera since you're giving us that option to see it here. And I know like I'm being technical because like I'm a manual shooter most of the time, and it's hard for me to pick up a camera and just like trust that the camera is doing what I want it to do, because the camera is going to do what it wants to do. so it's hard for me. Most people getting this aren't going to be that person like me. They're going to be somebody that's happy to pick up a camera and just let it automatically shoot. Like, shoot, my kids are having such a blast shooting.
Hello guys, it's just me and my dad up here working, like making the final touches in this room for show everyone.
I will touch on what the resolution is you're getting on each of these settings. It's a weird in-between resolution. It's higher than 1080, but it's less than 4K. So it's like, and it's not 2K, it's like different. So I'll tell you what it actually shows in the metadata for the different aspect ratios. So I'm gonna start with 4:3 because that's the order that it goes in on here. So in 4:3, the data, actually, I'll just show you the data it gets me. I'm hoping the camera will pick it up. That's the limit to my metadata that it's showing me. So you see we get our 30 frames per second. You get how large the file size is. You get its AAC for the audio, H.264 for the video codec, and then our pixels. It's 2880 by 2144 for the 4:3 aspect ratio. So that 2880 stays the same on 16:9. So the width is the same, even though like the framing of the shot looks like it actually gives you a wider field of view. 2880 by 1616, and then 2:2 is 2048 by 2048. 9:16, 2116 by 2144 for the height. So it gives you the same height as the 4:3 and then cuts down the sides is how it gets the 16:9. I was hoping to find out if any of them utilize the whole sensor. Like I said, this stuff is kind of like beyond what most people even care about on this camera. But just wanted to give some of those. So if you pop it into an editing software, you're either going to be up-resing it or downgrading it depending on how you export it, because it's not, those aren't like normal pixel amounts for any of the standard exports that we use. So it's kind of what you think you're going to be doing. Oh yeah, if you do change your SD card out, I will show you what it looks like on the bottom. I'm just going to tell you. So you remove the two screws, and then it slides down and then pulls out. So it slides down slightly, pulls out. The SD card you push in to pull it out. You have to be careful, because if you see the reset button right here, on the outside, it looks like it's just a pinhole. When you take this off, though, it's a physical button. And if you're not careful, you could reset all your information on here while you're trying to eject the SD card. You could shoot a vlog with this by just holding it with your thumb and taking a video of yourself and chatting to the camera. It looks a little silly, but you definitely can do it. And like with the microphone, you could walk around and freaking vlog with this thing. And it would be the most hilarious vlog, but people would be asking you questions still and be like, what are you shooting with right now? And that's part of the fun. So I guess in short, I just wanted to talk about this camera and say how awesome I think it is just for the fun aspect of it. It is definitely video you can use and shoot and have fun with, and you can shoot in 9:16 in the camera to get shots for Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikToks and all that fun stuff. Or you can go 16:9 and make something cinematic, or 4:3 and have it look like it came out of an old camera and it's using the full aspect ratio of the sensor. It's just so fun, and I hope that everybody enjoys theirs if they order one from my affiliate link down below. It helps me out a little bit, and I believe you get $5 off your order. And if you do go to order one, don't forget to check out my link to Rakuten and sign up through that link, because it does help me out. But also, Rakuten is super awesome, and it allows you to collect cash back or points on what you purchase if you just purchase through linking to a site from that app or from that web page. I have my Amex card set up with it so that it actually gives us points for our travel, which I'll link at the end, our travel channel, if you guys want to go check that out. But the only reason we're able to do that is because of miles and points that my wife geniusly has figured out the code for it, and we're trying to teach other people how to do it so they can enjoy travel like we do. But sign up for Rakuten. It gives you 3 times points or 3 times cash back on these cameras and anything from the campsnap site right now, which is super cool. So if you are going to make your purchase, I would recommend doing that, and it helps me if you use my link down there. But check out Woods Family Travel right there. Whatever YouTube recommends to you is going to pop up there. Whatever camera you use, go shoot something awesome and be proud of your work. See you guys later, and I hope you pick one up because I'm having a blast with it. All right, bye. Later, guys.